Good evening. I am Tashon Tyson, in with you over here in Midi News Package for today, Thursday, 29th November 2018. In our lead stories. Nationally, 41 students graduate from Gingerland Secondary School, and SKN LP promises next generation universal healthcare and hospital when elected following next general election. Regionally, Belize's PM will not demit office after all. Internationally, Trump's ex-lawyer Michael Cohen to plead guilty. And in sports, Dynasty Ballers defeat the CSS Schoolboys team in local basketball league. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. 41 students bade farewell to their alma mater, the Gingerland Secondary School, today, Thursday, 29th November 2018. The ceremony marking the 45th annual graduation exercise was held at the Eden Brown Church of God under the patronage of Mr. and Mrs. Chesty Manners. Featured speaker Mrs. Azure D. Liebert Brown, a former graduate of the school, left this message with the graduates, highlighting the theme, Through Difficulties to the Stars.
Set smart goals. If you fail, do not give up. Take responsibility for your life and action. Be patient and, say it with me, put God first. I trust that you would not be overwhelmed by difficulties when they appear.
Featured speaker Mrs. Azure D. Liebert Brown. 2018 valedictorian Miss Thalia Dorr also had a message for her graduating class.
Today is more than just a graduation from high school, but rather the end of a significant milestone. Aristotle once penned the words, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruits are sweet." This is truly evident in our success today. Graduates, be honest. Don't you remember the sleepless days, sleepless nights, whole heap of rough road we walked through? If you don't remember, ask Amber. Look at us now. We are here relishing in the joy and pride of reaping the rewards of seeds we planted years ago. Achieving excellence is a habit and not an act.
2018 valedictorian of the Gingerland Secondary School, Miss Thalia Dorr. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, SKNLP, will implement a new next generation universal healthcare system, which includes a national health insurance plan and a new hospital, which will provide better healthcare for the people of the Twin Island Federation. That's according to the chairman of the SKNLP, Dr. Terence Drew. At the party's press conference on Wednesday, he said that all children, low-income families, the indigent, and senior citizens will have guaranteed placement in the national insurance system. Additionally, pre-existing conditions will be covered, treatment for cancer, kidney failure, etc. will be covered because this is to save lives, he said. The SKNLP's Next Generation National Health Insurance Plan will be effectively and efficiently managed to ensure universal coverage at a sustainable cost to make it cheaper. It would be managed by a private sector firm or a public corporation, but with legislative regulatory oversight to make the system better for the insured, and financing will be from a national health fund. The St. Kitts Joseph N. France General Hospital now has the capacity to treat more patients suffering from renal failure. This with the addition of 3 brand new hemodialysis machines donated by the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan. At a briefing handing over ceremony held on Tuesday, November 27th, Resident Ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Tom Lee, commended the Ministry of Health for its support in facilitating the project to procure the 3 new machines. He said that the machines will be very crucial for the care of patients suffering with chronic kidney disease, CKD, because without hemodialysis, the patients may not survive. Minister of Health, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, thanked the ambassador and expressed his pleasure over the invaluable partnership that has blossomed with the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan over the years. He also said that while the machines are there to treat patients suffering with the disease, the Team Unity government is focusing on prevention at a national level. In police news, police have charged 24-year-old Kieran Phillip of John England Village, St. Peter's, St. Kitts, for the offense of attempted murder. A police report states that the incident involves 32-year-old Ian Pemberton, who was shot multiple times about the body on November 8, 2018 in Lower Monkey Hill. Philip was charged on November 24th and remanded to Her Majesty's Prison. Meantime, one person has been taken into police custody following a shooting incident at George Street, Newtown on Wednesday, November 28th, in which a young man was seriously injured. According to a police release, 23-year-old Antoine Galloway of Madhouse Alley, Newtown, was walking along George Street when a lone gunman approached him and opened fire. Galloway was shot several times about the body and was rushed to the hospital by the Emergency Medical Service, EMS, where he underwent emergency surgery. Galloway is currently listed as being in a stable condition. The person in custody is assisting with the investigation. Elsewhere, Kevin Hamilton was found guilty today, November 29th, for the 2015 murder of Ernest Graypatch Hendricks. He was found guilty by a majority verdict of 10-2. Hendricks, a Palmetto Point resident who operated a bakery and shop in St. Kitts, succumbed to his injuries 1 week after being shot multiple times. Hendricks was shot after a masked gunman entered his bakery and demanded money. He had no money to hand over and was shot in the stomach. The gunman fled the scene. His murder was the 18th for 2015. Several salient matters of national and regional interest were discussed during a meeting between a team led by Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris and Ambassador of the European Union delegation to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, and CARICOM, Her Excellency Daniela Tremasier. The meeting was held on Tuesday, November 27th at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel's boardroom. Officials discussed cooperation on bilateral projects such as the police training academy that is under construction at Limekiln, the European Union's EU's policies on taxation, as well as the implications of those policies for small island developing states like St. Kitts and Nevis were also addressed at length. Other topics that were discussed during the important meeting included post-hurricane assistance and post-Cotonou discussions between the European Union and the African, Caribbean, and Pacific ACP countries. Prime Minister Harris was invited to attend the inauguration of the new presidency of the Council of the European Union next year. The Republic of Romania will assume the presidency in the first semester of 2019. In attendance at Tuesday's meeting were Cabinet Secretary Mrs. Josephine Huggins, Deputy Financial Secretary Mr. Calvin Edwards, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security Mr. Osmond Petty, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sustainable Development Ms. Beverly Harris. The funeral service of late King Arrow Dolphin was held on Tuesday afternoon, November 27th, at the St. George's Anglican Church in St. Kitts. It is understood by this media house that a ceremony had already been held in St. Martin. King Arrow died on Monday, November 5, 2018, at the St. Martin Medical Center at the age of 71 years. Reports say that he had been ailing for some time. The veteran calypsonian is known for his contribution to calypso, most notably for his 1983 hit song for independence, nationhood, Arise, and his Christmas song, Christmas Pains. He was also a previous Road March winner. Back in the 1970s, he produced his first album in Trinidad, which was backed by the Joey Lewis Band and backing vocals featuring singing Francine. And finally, a national gender equality policy and action plan has been launched here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The goal of the project is the development of a well-informed, comprehensive national gender equality policy and action plan that will guide the implementation of gender-based and sensitive strategies, both in the public and private sector, in an effort to protect the human rights of all citizens and residents. It is expected to serve as an institutional framework that will assist the government of St. Kitts and Nevis in facilitating gender equality and empowerment. According to Director of the Department of Gender Affairs, Ms. Celia Christopher, this is in support of the Federation's attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals and other regional and international commitments. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on our Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is. Come and let the Bank of Nevis Limited improve your quality of life this Christmas. Take an unsecured loan of up to $20,000. Ho, 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 ho. That's not all. Take advantage of our flexible loan term options. It's Christmas and it's time to be merry. Contact us today at 1-869-469-5564 or Facebook, Instagram, or visit our bank today. It's the Bank of Nevis Limited, wishing you Merry Christmas!
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Belize's Prime Minister Dean Barrow has had a change of heart. 6 months after announcing that he planned to demit office before his 5-year term is completed, a cabinet statement has revealed that he will be staying on after all. The statement said that the current trajectory of the ruling United Democratic Party, UDP, heading towards the 2020 general elections was discussed at a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, November 27th, and ministers expressed great satisfaction at the evidence of support for the party as measured by the large voter turnout at the UDP contested standard-bearer conventions taking place every weekend since November 4th. It noted, however, that those contests have been as fierce as the turnouts have been huge. In that context, Cabinet felt that once the conventions conclude in mid-December, there should be a break in the remaining convention schedule to allow for healing, the statement continued. According to the statement, in light of what Cabinet sees as the needs of the situation, the Prime Minister has, on the urging of his Cabinet, agreed to stay on. And that position was supported by all ministers, including those not present at the meeting, but who had previously indicated their agreement. Calling for unity after last week, Tuesday's runoff election, Governor Kenneth E. Mapp urged all Virgin Islanders to come together to support the territory's recovery efforts under the leadership of the newly elected administration. Mr. Mapp said, "We have had our election and now let's refocus on the future and the prosperity of the Virgin Islands." The governor conceded the election just after 9:30 p.m. at his St. Thomas headquarters. He expressed his deep appreciation to the voters and campaign workers. He said, "We want to assure the governor-elect and the lieutenant governor-elect that we will support a smooth transition of government." Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter also thanked the voters and the hard-working campaign volunteers. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness says he will formally launch a commission to study violence in Jamaica early next year, and he will be expecting that commission to make recommendations to government about what can be done to create a more caring and loving society. He said at a town hall meeting at the Howard University College of Medicine in Washington, D.C., "I think that is very important to our brand because violence is tarnishing Jamaica." Holness told the audience the crime situation is one that his government takes very seriously. He pointed out that his administration has invested significantly in providing the security forces with the necessary resources to do their jobs. He further noted that the government is undertaking a number of other measures to improve security, including the full mobilization of the security forces in communities where crimes are being committed. Meantime, water-scarce Grenadians will soon get their relief through a Green Climate Fund (GCF) approved project to be launched next year that will make Grenada's water sector more resilient to the impacts of climate change. Currently, several households in the 134-square-mile island of Grenada find themselves unable to pursue activities at their leisure because of water constraints. The Climate Resilience in Grenada's Water Sector (GCRUISE) project, whose $42 million budget will be mostly met by the $35 million grant from the GCF, is designed to tackle water issues brought about by climate change. And finally, the U.S. Coast Guard returned 74 Dominican migrants to law enforcement authorities in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic on Tuesday night, November 27th, following the at-sea interdictions of 4 migrant vessels off Puerto Rico. The interdictions were a result of ongoing efforts in support of Operation Unified Resolve, Operation Caribbean Guard, and the Caribbean Border Interagency Group (CBIG). Captain James Pazzarelli, Chief of Staff of Coast Guard District 7, said the Coast Guard and our partners will continue to diligently patrol the Florida Straits and the Caribbean Sea to stop these voyages before they end in tragedy and ensure the security of the United States. Ramey Sector Border Patrol agents detected the first migrant vessel early Sunday morning, approximately 8 nautical miles west of Punta Boroquin in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Coast Guard watchstanders diverted the Coast Guard cutter Resolute that responded along with the Puerto Rico Police Joint Forces of Rapid Action Marine Unit. Once aboard a Coast Guard cutter, all migrants receive food, water, shelter, and basic medical attention. That's it for Original Stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. U.S. President Donald Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen is expected to plead to lying to Congress in relation to Russia inquiry, U.S. media report. Mr. Cohen will admit misleading lawmakers about the Trump real estate project in Russia, say reports. In August, Mr. Cohen pleaded guilty to violating finance laws during the 2016 presidential election by handling hush money for Mr. Trump's alleged lovers. Thursday's development is the latest twist in the special counsel's investigation into whether Mr. Trump or his inner circle colluded with a Russian attempt to influence the 2016 presidential election. Here is more in this report.
Michael Cohen was Donald Trump's longtime personal lawyer and so-called Mr. Fix-It. At one stage, he even said he would take a bullet for the president. In court in New York, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to making false statements to a congressional committee about dealings between the Trump Organization and Russia. He says he lied about a proposed real estate deal in Moscow and failed to reveal a 20-minute conversation he had with the Kremlin. Mr. Trump said in response to the court hearing that Michael Cohen was lying to try to get a reduced sentence, and he described him as a weak and not very smart person.
There has been a worldwide resurgence of measles, with many countries experiencing severe and protracted outbreaks last year, a report warns. The World Health Organization data shows a rise in cases in almost every region of the world, with 30% more cases in 2017 than 2016.
Measles is a contagious disease that in serious cases can lead to brain swelling, pneumonia and blindness. For years, the proportion of people catching measles had declined, but this report shows that last year cases rose in almost every region of the world, with 110,000 deaths linked to the disease. Venezuela saw many cases as the health system collapsed and vaccines became hard to get. Europe had a surge in measles too. Health officials say measles vaccines can help prevent the disease and have saved millions of lives.
There has been outrage in India after the management of a shopping center in the eastern city of Kolkata told a mom wanting to breastfeed her baby not to do such home chores in the center. The comments were made on Facebook after the woman wrote a post on South City Mall's page complaining that there was no designated feeding area. The response angered many who said it amounted to shaming the new mother. Women breastfeeding in public is a common sight in India. South City Mall has since blamed a social media agency for the rude post. Abhilasha Arab Dasadi Kari first shared her experience on Tuesday. She wrote on the Facebook page of the South City Mall that there was no place to breastfeed and that the staff at the mall had suggested that she feed her baby in the toilet. She described the idea as disgusting and gave the mall a poor rating. And finally, Whitney Houston's ex-husband Bobby Brown is suing Showtime Networks and BBC, alleging unauthorized footage was used in the 2017 documentary Whitney, Can I Be Me? A complaint was filed with the U.S. District Court in New York on Wednesday by Brown and the estate of the couple's daughter, Bobby Christina. It claims the footage harmed Brown, his business, and Bobby Christina's estate. R&B singer Brown said consent to use the footage was not given, adding the material is about 15 years old. It was shot before he and singer Houston divorced in 2007 and before her death in 2012. That's our news segment. The latest in sport is next.
It's big, it's large, it's huge. It's the Mega Money Christmas Loan from TDC Financial Services. This holiday season, get $25,000 unsecured and a chance to win mega prizes. Win a mega 49-inch curved TV, deferred payment, gift cards, ham, turkey, and more mega prizes. Make your holiday mega with the Mega Money Christmas Loan from TDC Financial Services. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In local sports, Dynasty Ballers defeated the CSS Schoolboys team on Wednesday evening, November 28th, in the Malcolm Gishard Basketball League, which continued at the Church Ground Hard Court on Nevis. The Schoolboys tried their best, but on the night they were absolutely no match for their more seasoned and fleet-footed opponents. In the end, The Dynasty team dominated the game from start to finish and won with a scoreline of 54-22. The league continues on Saturday 1st December and Sunday 2nd December. In football, Gareth Bale's goal set Real Madrid on their way to victory over Roma in the Champions League as they cemented their position at the top of Group G. Bale capitalized on a defensive error from home defender Federico Fazio to put the holders in front against a run of play after the break. Spain winger Lucas Vazquez ensured the La Liga side claimed all 3 points, tapping in from close range after Karim Benzema's cushioned pass from a Luka Modric cross. Scores: Roma 0, Real Madrid 2. In cricket, some overseas cricketers will be eligible to play for England after living in the country for 3 years under new rules coming in on 1st January. The updated England and Wales Cricket Board rules mean, for example, that Sussex all-rounder Jofra Archer will be eligible to play for England next year. Archer was born in Barbados but has an English father and a British passport. Under the previous rules, he would not have been eligible until the winter of 2022 after a 7-year residency. That, since 2012, had been the period required for players who arrived in England after their 18th birthday. However, 23-year-old Archer, who was signed for £800,000 in the Indian Premier League auction last January, could now be included in England's World Cup squad next summer. Still in cricket, there could be a Women's Caribbean Premier League on the cricket calendar in the near future. Chief Operating Officer Pete Russell was responding to questions raised by West Indies batter Brittany Cooper after her team was knocked out in the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. The 2018 edition was the first standalone Women's T20 World Cup hosted by the ICC, attracting promising audience numbers across the 3 venues in Guyana, St. Lucia and Antigua. Currently, the CPL only has the rights to host the men's tournament, and to organize the women's version, a separate license needs to be procured by CWI. And finally, in athletics, almost 250 runners in a half marathon were caught cheating when traffic cameras captured them taking shortcuts through bushes. Organizers of the race in Shenzhen, China, also discovered 18 runners wearing fake bibs and 3 runners they described as imposters. All who cheated are now facing bans. Footage captured by Shenzhen police traffic cameras showed runners cutting through bushes to an adjacent carriageway instead of continuing along the road and making a U-turn. Organizers said the 237 people caught cheating would have run 2 or 3 kilometers less than the full 21-kilometer, 13.1-mile distance. The annual race in China's 4th largest city typically attracts about 16,000 runners. News of the cheating led to the People's Daily newspaper, one of China's biggest publications, to urge runners to respect the marathon and respect sporting spirit in an editorial. That's it for sports. The General Weather Forecast is next. And now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. There will be mainly fair skies tonight with a 10% or slight chance of overnight showers. Weather tomorrow will be mainly sunny with a 10% or slight chance of showers. Winds are east at 9 to 22 kilometers per hour or 5 to 12 knots. Seas swells 1.5 meters or 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow would be at 6:23 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the Major News Package for today, Thursday, 29th November 2018. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, 41 students graduate from Jindalan Secondary School, and SKNLP promises next generation universal healthcare and hospital when elected following next general election. Regionally, Belize's PM will not demit office after all. Internationally, Trump's ex-lawyer Michael Cohen to plead guilty. And in sports, Dynasty Ballers defeat the CSS Schoolboys team in local basketball league. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.